In this video, I'm going to be showing you all how to make the strawberry pretzel cake straight off the back of the box of Dolly Parton's strawberry cake mix. The only thing that I want to point out that I specifically used in this recipe was the fact that I'm going to be using pure Irish butter instead of any other butter. And the fact that I'm using lactate, mind your business. Use your own type of milk, but I will be using lactate. This recipe piqued my interest, especially since I tried Dolly Parton's other cake mix recipe with the banana pudding cake, and it was phenomenal. So I was really excited to try out this one. Now, when I have the urge to start baking, it's typically because there are some friends in town, and that was the exact situation I was in. My husband and I had some friends come into town, and they like sweets, so I seen this as my opportunity to shine. Again, I like the banana pudding cake so much that I wanted to try this strawberry pretzel cake that was on the back of the box of Dolly Parton's strawberry cake mix, and I gave it a go. Now, I love a cake that has beautiful presentation, and because I'm no decorator of cakes, I wanted something that looked good, but that was actually simple. So I seen this as something that was right up my alley and something that I could replicate time and time again. So I decided to do this cake mix, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. Next, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the cake mix with the 4 eggs, the milk, and the butter. Then we're going to give it a good whisk until it's all evenly blended and there are no lumps in it. If you leave any lumps in it, it's probably filled with the dry mix. So just make sure you thoroughly mix this mix. Next, we're going to take our floured cake pans and dump half of the mix up between the two of them, and then try to evenly spread out the mix so that the whole bottom of the pan is covered. Once you have that all set, you're going to go ahead and pop it into the oven that you had preheated at 350, and you're going to set your timer for about 21 minutes. While the cakes are baking in the oven, we're going to next prepare our filling that's going to go in between the 2 layers of cake. Dolly's recipe calls for using cream cheese and some of her strawberry frosting to actually create this filling. The cream cheese and the frosting combination gives it a very subtle sweet taste, and it's actually quite refreshing and not overwhelming in sweetness at all. Now, please let me say, I should definitely be using a bowl instead of this glass square container. A bowl would just be so much better, as it wouldn't have any sharp corners where my hand blender keeps knocking into. So yeah, do as I say, not as I do. So anyway, you want to get this blended as well as possible, making sure that all of the frosting is completely uniform with the cream cheese and that it's nice and smooth. Once you get it to the perfect consistency, you might as well just go ahead and pop it in the refrigerator and wait for your cakes to finish baking. So that way everything is nice and cool when you go to put it on a cake, because we're going to be adding this to the cake not too long after it's been cooling on a rack. So we want the frosting to be as cool as possible. Next, the recipe calls to crush up some mini pretzels and to not completely make them small. You want some chunks. So I'm like stabbing at it, but I want some of it to maintain its shape. Next, you're going to add some butter, and the recipe actually calls to add sugar at this moment, but I kind of skipped over that by accident. And what you're going to see me do is improvise. I'm going to put this in the oven as is on this tray, and then once I realize I messed up, I'm going to go ahead and pull it back out of the oven and sprinkle some sugar on it. But my pretzels are still wet with the butter, so it actually was okay. As you can see here, I timed my pretzels to go in as my cakes were coming out, and now I'm actually sprinkling some sugar on those pretzels, and they're still a little wet, so I am, a little at ease about that. But yeah, sprinkle your sugar on your pretzels right after you put the butter into the bowl with them. That's the way it's supposed to be done, but we improvised. Once you have your pretzels in the oven, you're going to go ahead and set your timer for 8 minutes. And then once they're done, you're going to take them out and set them to the side so that way they can crisp up. Once your cakes are cooled down, you can go ahead and remove the cakes from the pan and start your layering process. And remember, because we used that butter and flour hack on the pan, it was very easy for those cakes to slide right out. Next, we're going to take our cooled down cream cheese and frosting mix and put that right on top of the first layer cake. You're going to try and spread this as evenly as possible. It may not be possible because you can't see exactly where the thicker parts are, but do as best as you can to spread it evenly. Once you're done spreading the cream cheese frosting, you're going to take your second cake and you're going to lay that right on top. Once your cake is positioned, you're going to now take your strawberry frosting and spread it all over the top and sides of the cake. And I just want to say this one note about Dolly Parton's strawberry frosting is that I noticed that it is the best frosting I've actually tasted that actually wasn't tremendously sweet. Now, every other strawberry frosting I've tasted have had like this very strong sugary taste, and let's just like tried to do the most with the strawberry flavor, and it wasn't something I actually noticed until I actually tried Dolly Parton's, and it's sweet, but it's more subtle. I can't explain it, but it's not overwhelming. Like, if you are someone who don't like overly sweet things, you're gonna love this. Okay, so now that we have our cake iced as best as we could, we're going to now take part of those sugared pretzels and spread them along the bottom half of the cake. Next, we're going to slice some strawberries right on the top and then add some pretzels to it. I'm pretty much trying to mimic what I seen on the back of the box because that's what made me even want to make this cake. So yeah, slice those fresh strawberries as many as you want. I would do them as thin as possible and try to spread them out a bit so that when you slice the cake, every slice gets some strawberries. So this is what it looks like once you add the pretzels and the strawberries, and I think it's absolutely stunning. This cake makes for great presentation. It tastes fantastic, and I can actually see bringing this to any event that I go to where I have to bring something and it being a wow factor and it being talked about and people actually claiming it as their own recipe. But this is beautiful enough to just be taken places, celebrated with, and eaten at home as a snack by yourself with guests. It's great. It's easy to make, and I definitely suggest this for any event.
I don't have to find an aesthetic. I am an aesthetic. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out here right now who's going into Pinterest trying to type up all these adjectives to describe me.